Communication. A very important concept. Whether you're an animal, human, we all need it, and we each have our own separate language so we can communicate with each other. Because whether you're at home and need to call 911, or let's say a cub needs to call his mother because the cub feels endangered for some reason. The list goes on really about why communication can help us survive. Today, now humans use their mobile devices if they need to contact pretty much anyone, whether it be through any type of social media platform, if you're just texting a friend, or, as I said before, calling 911. But it hasn't always been like that. Like animals, it used to only be face-to-face interaction. See, over thousands of years, our way of communicating has evolved from face interaction to an online global community. And what I mean by online global community, I mean the community we've made through social platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. From cave painting walls dated back to 33,000 BC to newly developed mobile devices that now have holographic imaging on it. Yeah, that's right. Now then, there's a lot that we have done with communicating over the last 30,000 years. And what we've done is quite astonishing, really. So, considering this, ask yourself this question. How has communication evolved to include the translation of many different languages around the world? And this is what we're going to be discussing today. I'm Kevin Kionis. This is my crash course video for Modern World 2 for 5th period 2019. Throughout all of human history, communication between each individual has only improved, as I said before, improving through technologies that we now use in our everyday lives. Quick interruption. I did a foolish mistake by doing this at dark, but I honestly just want to get this video off my back, so please excuse the background noise. Yeah, that noise is a little annoying. Forgive me for that. Sorry, as I was saying, and through these technologies, this has allowed humanity to create a global community online that's connected people all over the world. To get specific, how, in a way, communication has brought us together, going back from 30,000 years ago to now. Okay, now, while cave paintings are a very good point, it wasn't necessarily what brought humanity closer together, so I'm going to move to the time when humanity was a bit more civilized and everyone had their own form of language. But unfortunately, no one could understand each other because from different countries, no one really understood what they said because they each had their own form of language, which is until the Phoenicians came in. Now, one reason why I'm mentioning this is because the Phoenicians created a common alphabet which was adaptable to most languages. Now, the reason they created this alphabet is because they traded with them all. So having a common alphabet where they could all understand was really big help for them. In fact, according to the Ancient History Encyclopedia, the Phoenician writing system is, by virtue of being an alphabet, simple and easy to learn, and also very adaptable to other languages. Unlike the cuneiform or hieroglyphics, by the 8th century BCE, texts written in the Phoenician alphabet whose authors were probably not Phoenician appeared in Cilicia in southern Asia Minor and in northern Syria. So here we can see how the alphabet created by the Phoenicians has adapted to all over the world. And in case you're not really catching on of what this alphabet was and why it's not so popular, the thing is, it is, but we just don't think too much about it. Do y'all recall learning your ABCs in kindergarten? Well, thank the Phoenicians. They invented them. Now, turning to Europe in the 1400s. All right, guys, last interruption. I'm very sorry about this. And sorry, Mr. Fekosh, this is going to be the last interruption. I hope you were over there because I'm just looking here because hoping you're at your chair. I'm just going to turn on the lights because it's extremely dark and the mosquitoes are everywhere and I'm never going to do this mistake again. So here we go. Much better. Anyways, turning to Europe in the 1440s, the invention of the printing press actually allowed books to travel as fast as they are produced. And now the reason I'm mentioning this is because Gutenberg's invention made it possible that knowledge, information could be spread all over Europe and even further on. Because first, books were written by hand, so if they were copied, they'll have to be handwritten and it will take forever. But thanks to the printing press, that was no longer necessary. This is important because even the Lemmelson website stated that the printing press was one of the most important inventions in the history of mankind. For the first time, the device made it possible for the common man, woman, and child to have access to books, which meant that they would have the unprecedented ability to accumulate knowledge. I rest my case. And of course, we know that books still apply today. Schools have textbooks so they can have information to teach their students. People use it to tell their personal experiences. But moving a bit more forward in time about spreading experiences, soon people from all over the world were sharing life's most important moments faster than ever before because of new communication technologies that allow them to, such as newspaper, radios, and television. They were pretty much everywhere, although television was really a popular thing mostly in America. With the new technologies used for communication, it was really easy to spread information to anyone, no matter what part of the world you were in. At this point, everyone is communicating with one another all over the world, and in 1969, from somewhere else.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In 1969, Neil Armstrong became the first man to walk on the moon, still having the accessibility to communicate back to Earth. And the reason I'm mentioning about Apollo 11 is because this was a really big event back in the day. Because you see, the Smithsonian Museum stated, NASA estimated that because of nearly worldwide radio and television coverage, more than half the population of the planet was aware of the events of Apollo 11. Now, to talking to the people on space, we're not speaking a language by man, but by a computer. Now, unfortunately, I could not find the exact computers used during Apollo 11. Of course, Apollo 11 actually had a really nice computer inside, and it was a lot smaller. But the problem with these computers back at the National Space Station, they were very large. In fact, almost large as a house was. But fortunately, the next advancement comes from a garage in California, where the invention of a normal-sized computer is discovered. The Apple I is a based hand-assembled computer by Apple co-founders Steve Wozniak in Steve Jobs' family garage in 1976. And honestly, when I first found this out, I was a little bit surprised because I always thought it was Steve Jobs who made the normal-sized computer, but it turns out it was really both of them, but Wozniak was one who actually put it together because Steve Jobs was currently unavailable. But now, thanks to them both, people who have the passion for shaping the future now have the possession of the hand-based computer in their hands, which moved humanity to a new advancement, and which is technically the current one we're living in, which is the development of an online global community. We now allow billions of people to interact with each other from all over the world. But let's get a bit more detail about the present. Now, social media is a really big factor of why communication still tends to spread today. It allows people to interact with each other across different types of cultures through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc., as I said before. After 30,000 years of time travel, we have seen how technology has impacted the evolution of global communication and how humanity finally reached to the online global community that we know today. A global community that allows billions of interactions to occur every day. And this will be the last time I state social media, because even though I'm getting tired of hearing it, social media is a major factor why communication continues to spread throughout the world. Because of the choices humanity has made for the last 30,000 years to improve communication, has now led technology to improve communication to what we recognize today. The reason there should be more awareness about globalization and communication is because through the development of communication over the years, because it's only brought humanity closer together, many different cultures have now intersected with each other and created this globalized community through social media. So how will communication continue to change over the next 30,000 years? While no one really knows what's going to happen over the next 30,000 years, I do know it will be quite a journey. Sorry, before I was so rudely interrupted. While no one really knows what will happen over the next 30,000 years, I do know it will be quite a journey. A journey that all of humanity will make together. Thanks for watching, class of 2019. I'll see you next year. The creator of this video was by Kevin Quiones, who is a 10th grader at AOC, which stands for Academy of Choice. I made this video because our teacher required us to make a multimedia project along with our essay part, and I chose video because I thought it would be more easier to do than the Google slide presentation. But it just turns out I did it just because I find it more fun to do video. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you real soon.